Adam Lambert is here. Come on in. Yeah, and here's the thing. I was going to sit here and talk to you, but there are two things. First thing he taught me last time we were here was to lead with the chin makes the face look thinner.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's right. The other thing he taught me was, you may not want to sit in the chair tall because the gut will do certain things.
I said that.
No, you didn't. I just made that I took creative license on that. And it's too early for us, so we got to, no coffee yet. But here's the thing that I was thinking about while I was sitting there with my daughter, who's grown significantly since Adam was here last time. EB and I, Kane, we all get to sit in this chair, and we get to ask questions. And we get to do that for a living. And it's really cool to do that. But I thought, since you guys who are here are like diehard fans that were here at 7:30 in the morning, you guys I've seen the way you defend this man on social media around the world. So I said, why should I sit here when we could have you sit here and ask questions to this man? So think of your questions quick and prepare to sit in this chair and realize when you walked in the room, you agreed to be videotaped and used at hot995.com, and we reserve the right to use you on the air a little bit later on. Standard data and text message rates apply. So here is your opportunity, guys, to sit in this chair and to interview this man that you have made an international idol. Because I could ask him questions all day, but that just wouldn't be fun for you. So let's start with you, right here. Oh, the one who was nervous earlier who said she needed Xanax. I'm just kidding. Come on up here and sit down. Make some noise for her as we get this thing started this morning. Meredith is your name? Meredith, sit in the chair.
A familiar face to start.
Here comes your photo op, Meredith.
Yeah.
Here we go. A
cool,
familiar
perfect,
face,
yeah.
Adam. Do you see a lot of the same faces all the time? They follow you around?
It's the best part.
Does it ever make you nervous when you're in the hotel?
No, it makes me feel more comfortable. I'm like, oh, yeah, hey,
Really?
what's up? Yeah.
So they were at the hotel last night?
No.
Any of them? They weren't in the lobby?
No, I wasn't even at the hotel last night.
Oh,
I was
babe.
at the hotel early this morning.
How did
because
that make you
the
feel?
Wonderful lightning storms here in D.C.
Yes.
Delayed my plane. It was so funny, you guys. I got on my plane in Toronto at about 4 p.m.
Wow.
Sat on the plane for about 3 hours. And then they were like, there's storms. We're going to deplane you. We were like, okay. And we get off the plane, and I got some food. They're like, okay, an hour later, get back on the plane. We were like, okay, we're going. We're going to get in, get a good night's rest, everything. Get on the plane, pull out. Actually, it's going to be another 2.5 hours.
Oh,
We're
my
like,
God. And you're like, did you just let it out? One of those high octave.
I had a moment of, why are we... Why did we get on the plane? Why? And then that was all I had to say.
So you're just cool?
A little blurt, and I was fine.
Did you need a beverage to calm down?
No, I didn't have a beverage. I watched a movie, a comedy.
Really?
Yeah.
Guess what was this comedy?
Kingsman.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you like Kingsman?
I didn't get to finish it.
What is this crime?
Yeah, because I started it.
Well, let
we
me
took
tell you
off,
how it
and I
ends.
couldn't finish it.
Samuel L. Jackson's great in that.
Yeah,
by
he's
the way.
great.
His character is phenomenal. If you
Hilarious.
haven't seen Kingsman, and I'm not just saying this because I might have been paid to say it at one point, the movie is really it really is. It's hilarious. It's actually very funny. If you like spy movies,
Is he doing like a rip on Russell Simmons? Is that what he was doing?
That's that you say it now that you say that.
Because he had like the cap on.
Yeah, I
and,
want to
like,
think he was. Yes.
Slash Mike Tyson or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think he probably got the inspiration to have that voice from Tyson.
Yeah.
But he also it was like he plays this character that's like Bill Gates meets Steve Jobs but twisted.
Yeah, like evil villain.
Yeah. So it's actually a great movie. But listen, enough about us, BS. Let's get to Meredith's question because she told me she needed Xanax to talk to you. So speak right into the microphone. Realize that camera's on you, and that's Adam.
Yes, it is Adam. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I guess my question would be, okay, I sing as well.
Okay.
And I have done some recitals, and I do more like classical singing and everything. So right before I usually go on, I get this moment where it's like, it'll be like you'll get your throat is kind of tense and it's harder to breathe, and it like passes after I've sung for like maybe a couple minutes.
Yeah,
or
the
so.
adrenaline has to.
Yeah, it kicks
yeah.
in. But at the beginning, when you first start performing, like, do you have a trick where? Because when you start, like, just from the beginning, it seems effortless. But do you have like with breathing?
I think
get
you have
that under
to
control?
like belly breathing is good. Like if you have to like consciously like breathe deeply into your stomach and out, like a slow, deep, controlled breath. That kind of helps like steady you a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I find.
Yeah.
Glass of wine.
I thought of that. Like
Deep breaths,
alcohol,
deep
yeah.
breaths. Maybe, yeah. Oh, here I am endorsing it, like a little booze.
Well, that'll be okay.
but breath is your best friend.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and maybe like a little stretch, like get into your body, because a lot of that energy is like just nervous excess
Yeah.
energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes closing your eyes helps a little like focus happen.
Okay.
If you're a little like,
okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Very helpful. Thank you.
Good question.
Great.
Are you good? Are you comfortable
I'm
now?
good. I'm good.
You can sit there if you want, but no, actually, we're gonna have to let somebody else. How much warm up did you have to do with Queen?
How much what?
Like when you were performing with Queen, how intense was that warm up for you?
Usually I would try to do some cardio, some exercise. That
Right.
kind of helps get everything going. And then I would do I have like a short warm up that I've recorded on my phone with a voice teacher a couple years ago. That's
Right.
like just scales and a lot of stuff like trilling your lips. And there's like a couple others that kind of help open everything up.
Right. Do you ever
Yeah.
hear like Michael Orland in the back of your mind?
I love Michael Orland.
He was a
He's
vocal
such a
coach
nice
for
guy.
American Idol. Does he remind you in the back of your mind? It's like, listen, Adam, you can do this. So before you go on stage with.
I don't think of Michael Orland now, but when I think of him,
Yes.
I think of him very fondly.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a really, really great guy.
I'm sure he's going to be
Yeah.
delighted at that shout out
Yeah.
just now. So back to your questions. Somebody made a book. Is that you? Come on up here and sit down and talk to Adam. Do you have a question? Perhaps a comment? Tell me your name. Marisa. This is Marisa. Marisa, have a
A
seat.
book?
Yes.
This is a little blast from the past.
Oh.
Here you go. And here's the microphone. You're going to want to
wow,
talk right.
this is from the past.
Yes.
This is like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Nice work. Did you take the pictures as well?
I did.
Very good. Cool.
So I want to actually thank you in terms of inspiration, in terms of concert photography and everything. So
Yeah.
I sort of going to your shows, I was getting back into photography at that time, and it really sparked a real interest in concert photography in
Oh,
general.
cool. Good.
So you guys
Good. I
put
gave
on
you
a-
lots of costumes to
put
take
on
pictures
a
of.
great show. So much color, so much activity. It was
Yes.
awesome.
I mean, I think looking back, like this show was definitely like summing up all the theater stuff that I love that I came from, you know?
Yeah.
It was kind of like a comment on where I had come from in a big
Exactly.
way. It's really, and looking back on it, I'm very fond of it. It was really fun and crazy. What a crazy tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Actually, and my question was sort of building on that in terms of you had mentioned before sort of what the first album was about and the second album, and now the third, you mentioned a nostalgia bit for the 90s. And I was
Mhm.
just curious, what do you consider right now, I guess, your cultural touchstone for 90s music? What speaks to you most?
A lot of that dance music from the 90s really, like, I remember being a kid and hearing house music for the first time with these big diva vocals on it and being like, what is that?
Yeah.
Because up until that point, I was, you know, such a little musical theater nerd. You know, that was what I listened to, and the music that was around my house, you know, that my parents were listening to, and they were listening to like 70s rock, and my mom was listening to kind of 70s R&B, and there was one musical that was like my favorite musical at the time, and it was The Wiz.
Yeah.
And you know, they had these great soulful vocal performances in the original soundtrack, and I really loved that, the vocals on there and the music on that, and that sort of like opened my ears up, and all of a sudden I'm hearing all these like diva vocal things, and I'm like, ooh, with the beat at the and it just it turned me on. I loved it, and so I think coming into this album, I heard a lot of these songs and this style kind of starting to come back, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I remember that. I remember being a kid and hearing these songs for the first time. And I mean, that even led the way for me to like discover like a lot of retro disco stuff and funk. So yeah, so that's part of the inspiration for sure.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Great question. Make some noise for your fellow fan.
Do you want me to sign this? Yeah, I will.
There's a gold
Yeah.
one right there. if you want.
Here, I'll sign it right now.
Uh-oh. And see, now that it's on video, if you ever decided you wanted to sell it on eBay, after his 19th
Authenticated.
Grammy Award,
Authenticated. There you go. Thank you.
that's awesome. Adam, speaking of when you were a kid, I was thinking about this on the way in because, you know, I sense that on this project, there's kind of a metamorphosis going on with you. I think that, you know, we talked earlier and you talked about no more makeup. It's a pain in the ass to put it on, getting it off. You know what I mean? So I sense you're kind of going through a change where, you know, like on this album, we hear you sing. We hear your musical ability, your vocal ability. It's not the over the top, you know, even though there's some of that there, but it's not like, you know, what we might have witnessed in the past. But I want to go back further. When you were growing up, when you were like in middle school, high school, you were one of the creative ones, right?
Oh yeah.
Were you bullied?
Yeah.
Did you find that
Was I
you-
bullied?
Were you
Not
bullied?
really,
or-
but I avoided being bullied
Yeah?
carefully. Yeah.
Tell
yeah.
me about that.
I didn't really have to deal with it that much.
Yeah?
Especially high school was easy.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden high school was like there was clubs and activities, and then you could like show what you were good at
Right.
and kind of find a group of kids that were like-minded. High school I loved, but middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, that was where it was like everybody's going through all these changes, and like that's where it was a little awkward.
Speaking of
Yeah.
awkward, how did you survive the awkward Adam phase?
I was kind of a loner in
Yeah?
middle school. Yeah, I didn't have that many friends in middle school.
Right.
I remember the one thing I had to look forward to every week was on Saturdays I had rehearsal for the children's theater group I was in,
Right.
which was outside of school. And so that really got me through the week.
Right. So you'd be like, I'm just working for the weekend.
Yep.
Everything will be good on
Exactly.
Saturday when I can go and perform.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's what got you through.
Yeah.
And then, of course, high school comes and you're just like, I'm in with these people and this is
Yeah,
how we-"
high school, like it all started to click more. I think
Yeah.
I think those activities and those clubs and stuff that you know, you could show you were good at something that everybody wanted to be good at, and that would give you a certain amount of respect, and you would make friends that way. And
Now, speaking of
Yeah.
evolutions, would you say that the business has caused you to evolve over the last 5 years or so?
like creatively,
I think creatively and as a person and as a business-minded person, because, you know,
yeah,
it's not just it's not
definitely.
just the idea of winning a show on television anymore. You know, now it's about, okay, I'm doing this stuff with Queen and we're performing around the world, and you know, I have deals with record companies wanting me to do this, but I want to be seen as this kind of artist and not this kind of artist. Tell me a little bit about that evolution coming to this new album.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've grown and evolved a lot. You know, I think like I was saying, you know, talking about that tour, for example, like I started doing a lot of theater. And
Right.
then in my 20s, you know, when I wasn't actually working, I slowly kind of became a wannabe club kid too. I was out
Right.
a lot wearing really weird outfits at night in clubs and having a great time. And so I got some performance opportunities doing that, which was kind of theater,
Right.
but not professional theater. It was fun, and
Right.
it was more of like a creative expression.
Right.
And I started falling in love with that because I could call the shots. And so then when I auditioned for Idol, I think I kind of wanted to put all that together. And then coming off of Idol, right, it's like a competition, and it's,
Sure.
you know, you want to, it's sort of pageanty in a way
Yeah.
that like you always smile, say the right thing.
Watch that camera. There's
Yeah.
the light.
Yeah, and you know, and I was being myself, but
Right.
it was like me on my best behavior, sort of strategizing, you
Right.
know. And when I auditioned for the show, I auditioned for like a Michael Jackson song,
Right.
and they were like, what else do you have? And that's when I pulled out the Queen song,
Right.
and that clicked for them. And so I was, you know, encouraged to kind of go down a classic rock path, which is music that I love.
Sure.
But it was kind of because of the show that I went down that path. And I had music that I had been working on up until that point. I started working with producers and things like that. I had a band at one point. I had some rock music. I had some dance music. I was working on everything. So coming off the show and putting the album together was basically like, okay, how do we make an album that reflects what I did on the show?
Right.
Did the first tour. Second album, I was like, well, what do I want to do now? I want to get more into dancey, funky stuff.
Right.
Did that. It's always been like an evolution. I think it still is a strategy in a way because you want to win. You know,
Right.
you want to have success as an artist in this business, and it's a very competitive business, and it's very unforgiving.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it is. I think, you know what I think is spectacular is that you have managed to put yourself in the driver's seat of your career now. You know, you had a label that said make cover tunes, and you were like, well, just see about that.
Yeah.
And so you went out and you made the album you wanted to make. You
Yeah.
found partners that you want to work with that respected
And that
your
I
creativity.
think that's the biggest key is without the right team around you,
Right.
you're gonna sink, you know. And I took a little time. I've worked with amazing people, but
Sure.
you have to find the right fit and
Right.
what works for you. And I changed management during my last albums, like the creation of it, and they're incredible, and they've helped me so much. And now with a new label, kind of a clean slate.
Right.
And then getting into this album and working with 2 executive producers to handle the whole thing is much different than working with a label A&R person.
Right.
Because that can be very political. So this was great because it was very music focused. That was like the first and foremost thing we were looking at.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, I know you have a lot to do today, and we need to have time for one more question from one of your fans. I didn't mean to take your time. I'm sorry. So who has one that they would like? Who wants to sit in this chair? Would you like to? Come on down.
Hot seat.
Have a seat here in the Coca-Cola chair. I'm just kidding. You need to tell everybody who you are. Here's the microphone.
I'm Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Mr. Lambert.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
All right.
Good.
I just want to say your album is the Bible. It is so good. My question is, what was your favorite process of making this album?
I spent 2 months in Stockholm, Sweden, which was really, to be able to go to like a foreign country to work on my music was, I had never really done that before. I'd done like tours in other countries and I'd been there doing musicals and stuff, but to stay in one city for 8 weeks was a trip because I got to really focus on music. I didn't have much of a social life there. I mean, I made a little bit of one, but I didn't have much of anything to distract me from it. So I was very focused on the process of going to the studio every day and trying this and trying that. And a lot of the songs were kind of born there.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that.
Great album.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I wish we had more time, but I'm getting that whole hurry up, Toby. Hurry up. It's like remember back in the American Idol days when you'd go to the radio tables, they'd stand behind you. You never saw this from the publicist, but they'd be like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
5 minutes later, I'd
That's
be like,
the best is the hand.
"You got you." The best is
Wrap it up.
That's
wrap
when
it
you
up.
know they're pissed.
Yeah.
Listen, it is always an honor to have you here, and I want to thank you, number one, for making me a fan a long time ago, and I think I speak on behalf of everybody in here. You are one of the more genuine people in music today. You've busted your ass to become who you are, and the fact that you are still becoming, I think, is what excites everybody in here.
Aw, thanks.
Your evolution is inspirational to so many people because, here we are. We think that, we've made it to this point, or, things are going pretty good, but you keep reaching for a little bit more and reaching for a little bit more. So thank you for being
Aw,
who you
thanks. Thank you.
are. All righty then. So many great things about the man. I know you want to spend some time with him taking some pictures. Make some noise for Adam Lambert. Thank you for the
Thanks,
time this morning.
guys. Thank you.